It's another week of college football, which means it's another week for us to feed you winners. And college football week 9 has got all the matchups. We've got 3 top 25 SEC matchups, and we've got a whole bunch of winners. You're going to want to stay tuned for a college football week 9 best bets episode. Welcome, football fans, to another edition of the D-Gen Docs here on the DFSG Plus channel. What is up, folks? College football week 9 already. Only so many more full Saturday slates to enjoy and gamble our asses off. So we must take advantage of that. What is up, folks? I'm one of your hosts here at the D-Gen Doc. More importantly, I'm joined by my brother in degeneracy, Mr. Derek Bennett, a.k.a. Professor Locks. How we doing tonight, brother?
I got two things for you. One, how the hell is it already week 9?
Oh, my
And
goodness.
two, we are both very happy men. I swept the board last week, and Billy Napier's fired.
Dude, you're bearing the lead, but I love it. I'll take it, man. We are excited. But hey, folks, look, as my co-host is jumping the gun, we're gonna pull it back for a second. College football week 9. It is our best bets episode. If this is your first time with us here, welcome. Cheers to you. Thanks for joining. And if you're rolling back with us for 9 weeks on the college football season, then hell yeah, let's keep it rolling. Show structure really quick. It is the college football 6-pack around here. Now, in college 6-packs, yes, I know you're thinking, I was thinking to say Blue Moon and Yingling, but I guess college, Natter Days and Busch Light, baby.
Right.
But no, we are talking the 6 games that we are breaking down. And it's not just the 6 highest ranked games. No, because we are a betting show. We are talking about the 6 games we feel like has the best betting value for you, the ones we feel strongest about to give you some winners. Of course, some of those will be some top 25 matchups. We will go through the 6 games, break them down, give our picks. Then we'll finish up the show with a lock, a moneyline dog, a parlay, and a tease. All players are 1 unit except for the lock, which is 2 units. And we're going to start off with some takeaways and power rankings and jump right into it. But as Derek mentioned, yes, ding dong, Sunbelt Billy is gone. All Florida fans rejoice. And as my co-host, we were talking on offline, asking how the hell do you fire him off a win? I don't give a damn. Honestly, perfect situation. One would have been another embarrassing loss in Florida Gator history and under his tenure to lose at home to Mississippi State. I think that game went perfect. We figured out a way to win, came up with a miraculous 350-pound interception from a defensive lineman, and everybody in the world saw exactly why Billy Napier needs to go. You should not be in a dogfight with Mississippi State at home in year 4 at the University of Florida. He finishes with a 22-23 under 500 record. I am ecstatic that he is gone. Now, I don't want to just be a hater because I don't really love rooting for people to lose their job. He's got $30 million, $21 million to fall back on, so you can't be that mad. Right. But what I will say about Billy Napier really quick, he brought the most talented roster we've had in the University of Florida for almost a decade. He seemed like a very nice guy by all accounts. A lot of people wanted it to work, but he was too damn stubborn with the play calling, and he wouldn't hire an offensive coordinator, and his in-game management was some of the worst I've ever seen from a head football coach at any level. Mismanagement of timeouts. When we got the lead, he put his tail between his legs and just brutal, would not learn, stubborn. So goodbye, Billy Napier. Do you have any thoughts on the new and improved Florida Gators team?
No, I'm just very curious to see what direction Florida goes next. Will they try to coerce somebody that, we're questioning whether they'll leave? Will they go to, the FBS level? Will they bring in somebody that's been already fired? Or
no more group of 5, please. Alex Golesh, I do like. I will just say, Lane Train, come on to Gainesville, baby. Lane Kiffin in Gainesville would be absolutely electric. But on to some other news that's more Big Ten for you.
Yeah.
So Florida fans are happy. Penn State fans are happy. Virginia Tech fans, we can go on and on. Colorado State, all these coaches are fired. But there's a couple fan bases that are not happy because Wisconsin, despite Luke Fickell have a 4-18 record at Wisconsin, currently 2-5 and getting blown out, not scoring a point at home to Ohio State last week. The AD says, no, we're not going to get rid of Luke Fickell. We need to do more to support him. They offered a letter of support.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts for a guy that has just taken a once at least above average, if not good, Wisconsin football program and just put him in the shitter?
Yeah, no, it's really interesting. I mean, when you think of Wisconsin, you think of like giant men that are 350 pounds that are hog mollies that can move the line of scrimmage.
Yep.
And as soon as Luke Fickell got there, he completely changed that Wisconsin offense, and it hasn't worked ever since he's gotten there. They've looked like a very middle of the road team, or now this year they're at the bottom of the Big Ten.
They're terrible.
Yeah, they're not good. I mean, OSU just blew them out 34-0. Yes, their defense is rock solid. It's probably the best defense that college football has seen in quite some time. But I don't know what you're doing by saying, "Hey, we're going to give you a letter of support." I don't know how many more wins Wisconsin's going to have on their on their season. So yeah, it'll be I'm curious to see where they go, what they're trying to do to support him better. Because you would think a university like Wisconsin should have the resources to be doing that already.
Yeah. No, absolutely. I think it's a total slap in the face to the fans, which do bring a really good environment. It is one of the good football programs, good programs of college football, good environments, and it sucks. Now, one we can laugh at in a similar fashion: Florida State fans who have not won an ACC game in over 355 days. Like I think it's like 390 now.
Yeah,
over a calendar year. The conference you guys sued to try to get out of because you're so high and muddy at Florida State, you haven't beaten. And I was just telling you, most of you probably missed this game because it freaking kicked off at like 10 p.m. Eastern time.
Right.
I stayed up. No money on the game. No real reason to watch other than to watch
for your hater.
You lose. Yes, the hate juices were flowing on Saturday night as they lost to a bad Stanford team whose quarterback went out. Their backup, their starting quarterback got hurt in the first quarter, and they still lost. Hilarious. And FSU, although not saying quote a whole like letter of confidence, they did said they're going to commit to Mike Norvell for the rest of the season and then do an evaluation after the season. So we all get to laugh at FSU for a couple more weeks in Mike Norvell. But hey, look, wrapping up week 8 there with the records recap. I had an okay week, 3-3. I did hit my lock, but last week was all about Professor Locks. Hope you listen to Derek. 4-2, but he swept, hitting his lock, moneyline dog, and his tease. A whole bunch of green there for Professor Locks. Anything to say to the people before we walk into week 9?
No, we just got to keep it rolling. I mean, this train's just getting rolling. A little bit full steam ahead. Starting week 8. Now we're going to continue with week 9. Hopefully, we sweep the board.
Yeah, and we have to take advantage because, like we said, only a couple more Saturday. Not a couple, but week 9. We're like, damn, it's week 9.
We're already three quarters of the way through October. We only got about a month left here of regular season college football.
We got slates. Yep.
Yeah.
We will be with you
while we can.
We will walk you through the college football playoff for some winners. Have no fear. But we do love a full slate. That's where we really can get some value there. All right, week 8 takeaways, some big picture things. It was upset season in week number 8 there. Friday night, we gave you Minnesota, not only catching the 8.5, Minnesota on the money line, plus 240, 50, something like that. Very big, juicy dog. One game we did not talk about, Miami. Cristobal losing to Louisville, and then Texas Tech. Yeah. They had the backup quarterback in, and they got field storm against Arizona State. Which one were you most surprised about out of those 3 upsets between Miami, Nebraska, and Texas Tech?
I would have to say Miami just because it was at home. I mean, we've talked about it time and time again that it's hard to win on the road in college football. Miami, you're at home.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, I know that it's getting late in October, but Carson Beck turned into a pumpkin.
Yeah.
Finally, he
4
showed
interceptions.
that he was a pumpkin, and I mean that defense kind of did too. I mean,
Yeah.
Miller Moss and Brown did anything that they want basically
Yeah.
all game. So yeah, Miami was probably the biggest upset for me, just because their defense had looked so solid, and their offense had been
Yeah.
humming pretty well too. So yeah, probably that one.
Yeah, shout out to Jeff Brom and the Cards there, man. Ugh, Pitt, they had
Yeah,
Louisville. Pitt would be in the fucking driver's seat if they could have just fit. They were up 17-0 at home. So, damn Eli Holston. I
yeah,
think, Heinzel gets that done. But hey, they still got a shot there. But Louisville,
yeah.
very, very nice win. Jeff Brom, man, he just continues to be unranked and
Find a
beat
way.
top five teams.
Yep.
Insane the run that he's done. Great, great head coach there. And then it was a great week to show some parity and the rivalries and how much college football. Please, greedy TV execs, stop ruining rivalries. We saw
Yes.
the Holy War, right?
Yep.
Which probably should be played at the end of the year, but holy smokes, was
Hell
Utah
yeah.
bumping there. USC Notre Dame in the
Yep.
rain, like that
Pretty good
game,
one.
which they don't have any on the schedule right now moving forward.
Yep.
Insanity. That is
Yes.
college football. That is what we want to see. We don't
Yep.
want to see fucking Washington and Maryland. I'm sorry, but
Right.
you got to keep those historic rivalries there. Tennessee, Bama,
Yep.
and then Vanderbilt. We were on Vanderbilt.
Yep.
Vanderbilt is for
That
real.
was that was one of the cleanest games that I've seen in college football for a while. I mean, I don't think there was a single turnover, and Vandy just went and beat a pretty good LSU team. Now, are they as good as what we were expecting going into the season? No,
Right.
but Vandy with a little bit of expectations, a little bit of
First time
juice behind
ranked.
them.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Or
They
a
were able
favorite
to.
against the top 10 team or something like that. One of those, a ranked
Yes.
team even at home, and it's huge. You could
Right.
easily mess that up, but you're like you
Yep.
said, man. Clark Lee. I know we love Diego Pavia and like Eli Stowers and all those guys, but Clark Lee, that dude. I mean, to do it at Vanderbilt, that
Yep.
might be one of the best
He
coaching.
knows how to coach ball.
Yeah. Okay, let's move forward here. Let's look to our power ranking adjustment.
Yeah.
Every single week we say we kind of collect the data, we see what we saw, and we're like, all right, what teams impressed us enough to move up, and which
Yep.
teams really disappointed to move down. So, as always, we will start with you, my friend. What are your three teams that are moving up in your power rankings?
Yeah, this week, I'm gonna back Bama once again. I mean, they took down a
They look good.
better Tennessee team, and they basically dominated most of the game. I mean,
Yeah,
Joey Aguilar, it looks like he had a fairly decent game, but I mean, they just continued to get stands when they needed to, and that offense, especially the passing game, can just do whatever it wants right now.
yeah,
The rushing
Tyson.
game is still trying to find its way a little bit, but Ty Simpson, he's a dude.
Yeah,
The second one is Georgia Tech, and we talked about it a little bit ago. I mean, it's hard to go on the road and get a win. They went to Duke. Duke's not that great, but Haynes King. Can we start talking about him for the Heisman Trophy a little bit?
they'd
Right now,
never let a dog like him in that,
I,
but
I know.
he
I
doesn't
think
have the
he's 80.
passing
I think he's
stats.
80 to 1 right now, and he just continues to win and win convincingly.
Yeah,
um, so far. And then Vandy, like I said just a little bit ago, very convincing win to me, especially with a little bit of expectations. I kind of expected them to come out a little bit flat at home.
yeah.
Um, and they didn't. Diego Pavia, 2 touchdowns on the ground, I think 1 through the air. They just flat out beat LSU.
Yeah, no gimmicks, no last second, no like they're a good team. They
Yep.
are a good team, and we've
Yep.
known that, but it's about damn time that the national media knows that. And I'll go right into mine because two of them are similar, and I'll talk about BYU at the end.
Yeah.
Vanderbilt. Told you guys beginning of the season, we did our futures episode.
Yeah.
They just cashed their over 5.5 at plus 135 we gave out. And we also gave out in college football in our week 4 episode. Yes, you can check the receipts. We gave them out to make the playoff at plus 1120. That is now
Mhm.
down to like low under like 2 to 1 or something like that.
Yeah.
they've got a big one coming up, and we'll
Yeah.
talk about it. But man, does Vanderbilt look good, and they really control their own destiny with only one loss to this point, and I think some winnable games on their schedule still.
Yep.
But wow, Vandy, just kudos to you guys. You're cash cows for us. So shout out to Clark Lee and Diego Pavia.
Yeah.
Bama, like you said, man, ever since that era in Tallahassee with Gus
Yeah.
Malzahn having a month to prepare. They probably took it a little bit lightly. They got punched in the mouth. They lost.
Yep.
It wasn't a fluke. They got their ass kicked. But
Yep.
ever since then, man.
Kind of scared me being on them for the SEC championship. Now
Yep.
I'm starting to come around a little bit after 4 straight top 25 wins here.
Yeah, I mean, they clearly look like one of the top 3, if not 5, best teams in the country. Especially
Yeah.
with Miami and Tech faltering. Right now, I think the betting favorites are, your Buckeyes and then Bama. And I think that's
Yeah.
correct with how they look. I mean, that was an
Yeah.
impressive win. I'm not huge on Tennessee, but Tennessee's got talent. They've have some good
Yep.
wins.
Yep.
That pick 6 was electric there in Tuscaloosa.
Yes.
So good on Bama. Keep doing what you're doing. Got a trap game this week that we're not going to talk about, but that's the one that DeBoer tends to drop. So don't take
Mhm.
South Carolina too lightly. And then BYU, 7-0, man. I mean, I'll be honest. They
Yep.
had the whole Jake Retzlaff, their star quarterback, decides that he wants to have sex now and then gets kicked off the team.
Right.
And they got the freshman, Hank Bachmeyer, Bear Bachmeyer, or no, is it Bear Bachmeyer or
Bear.
Hank Bachmeyer?
Bear.
He's Bear? All right.
Bear.
Bear's the kid. And the true freshman,
Yeah.
dude, this team is rallying. Now, I will
Yes.
say, watching that game, they deserve to win. However, that game really changed on kind of what I think is a BS targeting call with Barton
Yeah.
not getting ejected. I think that was a little soft, but hey, shout out to BYU 7-0. They keep pulling it out, and it's really at some point we got to give them their flowers, and now's the time for me. So shout out to
Okay.
BYU 7-0 in a competitive Big 12. We will be talking about them and later in the show. All right,
Yep.
let's go the other direction. What are the 3 teams that are moving down on your power rankings? Did not meet the standard you had set for them.
Yeah, I mean, obviously Miami. We talked about them, towards the beginning of the show.
Right.
Carson Beck finally figured out that he is still a pumpkin at the end of the day. And their defense really kind of let him down there.
Yep.
Tennessee finally get to talk about them trending down. I didn't expect them to be as good of a team as they've shown thus far. I'm
Yep.
still not super convinced that that they're going to be this 9-3, 10-2 team. I think 8-4, 9-3, somewhere in there is where they're going to end up. But Tennessee, just the way that they lost in Tuscaloosa there, and then Texas Tech finally taking a nosedive out there at Arizona. It's tough to win on the road, but they held their own, and they did give Arizona State a little bit of a run for their money towards the end of that game, but Arizona State found a way to win. And it was hard to find a third team, so I did have to throw my Red Raiders in there.
Yeah. Look, I think they're still very much in play for the college football playoff to
Oh
catch.
yeah,
What was that? A 4-1 ticket or
yeah.
450 or something like
Yeah, I
that.
mean
Um,
their trip to Provo to face BYU here in a few weeks is looking very, very interesting.
yes, that is going to be a very important game. Likely. I mean, look, Big 12, the way they cannibalize themselves.
That might be a playoff game in
Right.
week 12 or 11 or whatever it
Yeah,
is.
yeah. Which makes it so. That's we'll get to that like a little bit later when we do those weeks. But man,
Yeah,
the last weeks become even like when it was a 4 team. Definitely a BCS situation.
yeah,
Most of those games are just irrelevant. But like
right.
everyone, like not everyone, but like those 25, 30 teams who have a legit shot at the 12
Yeah,
team playoff. Like those games become so massive. Whether you're playing your
100%.
rival who's just trying to knock you out of the playoff, or you're actually playing another team that's got a shot at. So can't
Yep.
wait for that. Those last couple weeks of college football has gotten immensely better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Let's see. For mine, they are almost identical. Miami, as we said, let's just keep making fun of Miami because they did look like world beaters. And
They did.
man, Carson Beck, I've
3 weeks.
talked about it in the offseason. I do not trust
Definitely.
him in the big
Yeah.
game. And yeah, there he is. I mean, really should have been 5 interceptions. He got bailed out by a terrible roughing the passer call, but
Yeah.
To be fair, he did throw an interception like right after, so same drive. So he made up for it. Well, good on him for believing in karma. But yeah, this was not a fluke, not a last minute kind of deal.
Nope.
They got their to the wire to wire. Louisville was leading that game.
Yep.
Texas, a team that won, but we've had them on this list
Barely.
multiple times. They definitely didn't cover. They needed overtime to beat a bad Kentucky team, a Kentucky
Yep.
team with 2 wins, winless in the SEC. Their offense is pitiful. They got outgained by I think almost 200 yards.
Yep.
What's going on there over in Austin? And then Texas Tech, yeah. I know you're going to say that fans will say their quarterback one was out and Barry Morton. That's been his problem his whole
Yep.
college career is availability.
Yep.
The best ability is availability at times. You have to
Yep.
be on the field. So yes, I know we know.
And when they played Utah a few weeks ago, their backup quarterback looked even better than
Yeah,
he.
the Howard kid,
And
who
yeah,
played this game.
Howard did not look as good this time.
No, he looked like
So
shit.
Morton is
Yeah.
definitely QB1 when he's there.
Right. So yeah, Texas Tech. Arizona State's not a bad team, but it's a bad loss. So
Yeah,
Texas Tech, maybe not the world beaters we thought, although still squarely in college football playoff contention.
no doubt.
Okay, it is week 9, college football best bets. We are going to go into our 6 games. We are going to do a full Saturday slate. I feel like the hardest thing for us most of the time is finding what 6 games we want to get in there.
Yeah.
Me always trying to talk Derek into talking about more than 6, but him being the principled, structured man he is, stick to the 6-pack. So that's what we're doing. We are talking about game number 1, Saturday, October 25th, 12 p.m. Eastern time. We have a top 25 SEC matchup, the first of 3 we're going to talk about today. We've got the 6-1, number 8 team in the country, Ole Miss Rebels, coming off their loss between the hedges to Georgia, against the 6-1 Oklahoma Sooners, the number 13 team in the country, coming off their win against South Carolina. You've got Ole Miss catching 5.5, minus 115 there on the spread. You've got Oklahoma laying 5.5, minus 105 at home. The Rebels are plus 180 on the money line. Sooners minus 218 home favorites. Over under sitting at 54.5. Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, in this one, this was probably the toughest one on the slate for me.
It was hard. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think the big thing is Ole Miss is coming off of a really tough matchup last week, tough loss
Yep.
in Georgia there, and in Oklahoma. John Napier looked a little bit better last week. He didn't throw any picks like he did a couple weeks ago in the Red River rivalry shootout, whatever we want to call that these days.
Mm-hmm.
But this was the game when John Napier injured his thumb. This was the game that I thought he would eventually come back for.
Right.
So I think that, after a couple weeks, they'll probably open that offense back up. I think he did look a little bit healthier last week. And I just don't know if I can truly trust that Ole Miss defense to slow a healthier John Napier down. I mean, Oklahoma's defense is one of the best in the country, but yeah, I think I just have to go with Oklahoma laying the points for this one.
Typically we're lockstep at least the first couple picks, but we're gonna disagree right off the bat. I
Yeah.
will say I agree. I think
Ooh.
this was the hardest one.
And I was able to find this, I believe, on DraftKings an hour or two ago at 4.5. So it is trending towards
Right.
Oklahoma. So if you're wanting to bet Oklahoma, you might wait a little bit or just jump on the 4.5 now.
Correct. I think it opened at like 4.5, and then I saw it this morning at 5.5 and jumped
Yep.
on it for Ole Miss. But then I think you're right. I think it is bouncing down back to 4.5. So obviously shop around depending on what side you're on.
Right.
I will be taking the Ole Miss in the 5.5. Now for me, I think it goes down to like Ole Miss. If you watch that Georgia game, which you're extremely lucky to get that cover on, Ole Miss should have won, not only missed the cover, but whatever. Georgia played well. This Ole Miss offense is legit. I
It
think
is.
that they can score on anybody. And yes, Oklahoma's defense does look really good. But if we take a look at, they look, other than Ohio State, they look like one of the best defenses in college football. I get that. But if we take a look at like who they've played, actual, Power 4 teams, Michigan, Auburn, Texas. right? And South Carolina. Not exactly offensive. Like all of those teams, their problem is offensive struggles, right? Jackson Arnold can't get out of his own way, fumbling around. This Gamecocks are an absolute mess this year. They gave up
Mm,
23 to Arch. Michigan, especially Bryce Underwood on the road there. I think it was his first road start. I think that Trinidad Chambliss and this Ole Miss offense just presents a much greater challenge. And I do question if John Napier is healthy. Coming back clearly too soon. Since he's returned, he's had one passing touchdown and 3 interceptions.
yep.
I understand they beat South Carolina without having to do much. South Carolina is terrible this year. I
Yeah.
don't I like South
Oh, yeah.
Carolina. That doesn't really move the needle for me. If anything, I understand Ole Miss lost, but man, I think they were right there in a much tougher environment.
Yep.
And I think Norman is a hard place to play. I will say Ole Miss coming on a back-to-back road spot that does need to be mentioned, right?
Yep.
But I think it's an 11 a.m. kick, Central Time.
Right.
So it's gonna be a bit sleepy, right? And we've seen that matter. What was it when Texas Tech played Utah in the morning? Like that matters. The difference between
Sure.
playing a night game and playing it at 11 a.m. So I just think it's too many points. I think that Ole Miss can score on anybody. And I think that Ole Miss has a really good squad this year, and I'm not sold on Oklahoma yet. I was with you, with everybody on Napier. I thought he looked great, but since that injury, he just hasn't looked the same. And I'm not so sure it's just gonna all of a sudden everything's gonna flow this game. Weather-wise, 66, partly cloudy, so really shouldn't be an issue. And
Yeah.
obviously Memorial Stadium there in Norman, Oklahoma. But the first game, we are on different sides. Derek
Yep.
is taking Oklahoma. You can definitely find a 4.5 out there, and I am an Ole Miss plus 5.5. You can find those as well. Probably just depends on if you're wanting to play juice or not there.
Right.
Okay, we are going to the second game here on the slate. We are talking ACC matchup, another noon kick Eastern time. Saturday, October 25th. We've got the 5-2 SMU Mustangs there. They are coming off a win at Clemson in Death Valley, and they're taking on
Mhm.
the 4-2 Wake Forest Demon Deacons coming off their bye week. We've got
Mhm.
SMU minus 3.5 road favorites, minus 180 on the money line. Then you have Wake Forest catching 3.5 plus 150 home dogs. Over under sitting at 53.5. Weather in this one, 58 and partly cloudy. That is at Legacy Federal Credit Union Stadium. Good Lord, these are terrible names. Over in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. Has a
Yep.
lot of money over there. Winston-Salem. Been over there a couple times. But where are you going in this one? Nice ACC matchup. Maybe not on everyone's radar, but this is a big game. SMU now, they're
Yep.
undefeated in ACC play. They are legit contenders. Sleepy spot here in Winston-Salem. Where are you going?
Yeah, I think I'm glad that you brought up the back-to-back road spot with the last game because this is another one of those, and there's a lot of teams on these back-to-back road spots this week for whatever reason.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it basically comes down to this. I mean, Wake Forest, yes, they've lost a couple games, but they've had a pretty balanced overall team. I mean, their offense has had its struggles. Their defense has looked okay. SMU can put up some points, but their defense sucks, dude.
Yeah.
I mean, they give up over 400 yards a game, over 20, almost 23 points a game, and I think the Wake Forest is going to be able to hang around with them. I just think it's, going back to the back-to-back road spot. Wake Forest coming off a bye. Give me Wake and the points, or and the points 3.5.
Yeah, I love Wake here. I think, if you're just looking at this and haven't really watched these teams this year, you're like, oh, wow, SMU just beat Clemson. They're only laying 3.5 at Wake Forest. Yeah, I'm all over
Yeah.
that. No, man, I think Wake Forest is live on the money line. I really like
Mhm.
Wake here. Wake's been playing really good ball. Their two
Yep.
losses at home are to Georgia Tech, where if you watch that game, it was an overtime game. They really were the better team. They should have won.
Yeah.
A couple bad bounces that didn't go their way. And then NC State. This was a game that I had locked up, and we bet NC State, and we were pretty fortunate to come away with that cover.
Yes.
Immediately, Wake Forest was up 14-0. Then they were up by 10 at another point in the game. They really kind of let that one slip away there. So I think this is going to be a game like you talked about.
Me too.
SMU. They just Clemson scored 24 points to a guy who had never played a game. I mean, he's his
Right.
first start. Christopher Vazina. he was 29 for 42, 317 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions. And, Ashford, for as much as I think he can be limited, he is an
Mhm.
experienced quarterback. And Claiborne, that running back for Wake Forest, is legit. He's
He's
one of the
good.
better running backs in college football.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that between sleepy spot, SMU's probably not, hey, we just won in Death Valley on Clemson. Like, it's a huge
Right.
game, revenge game from last year from ACC championship. And
Yep.
now they're going to a sleepy spot, back-to-back road spot, 12 p.m. kickoff. They're not thinking too much about it. I love Wake Forest here
Yeah.
to
I mean,
get them.
from an SMU side, Kevin Jennings is an electric quarterback, but he just makes
Right.
way too many mistakes. I think he has 7 picks on the season already. So I think that Wake Forest defense will be able to keep them in the game, and SMU's defense is going to allow Wake to score some points here.
Yeah, and the last thing I'll say is if we look at SMU's schedule,
Yeah.
yeah, they're 3-0 in the ACC, but they played Clemson with the quarterback making his first start ever.
Yep.
They played, love when they do the thumbs up. Yes, Stanford having to come all the way out from the West Coast to
Yeah.
Dallas, Texas, there, and then Syracuse right after they lost their starting quarterback for the year in Angeli with the Achilles tear. So
Right.
they've really played bottom tier. I think Wake Forest jumps up and get them. We are both on Wake Forest plus 3.5, those Demon Deacons, as home dogs on that sleepy 12 p.m. kickoff. All right, we're moving over to the 3:30 slate where we've got a couple top 25 matchups here.
Yeah. We
We
do.
are talking going to Nashville, our favorite team, Saturday, October 25th, 3:30
Well,
p.m. Eastern time. Well, betting team at least, outside of our actual favorite teams. The 6-1 number 15 team in the country, the Missouri Tigers. They are heading to Nashville to take on the 6-1 number 10 team in the country, Vanderbilt Commodores. Vanderbilt coming off a big home win to LSU. Missouri coming off a lucky, yeah, they grinded it out, an overtime victory
yeah.
against a Auburn team that just cannot win a game to save their life. We've got Mizzou catching 2.5 as a road dog. They are plus 120 on the money line. Over under sitting at 52.5. Vandy
Yep.
laying 2.5 at home, minus 142 on the money line. It's going to be 71 and cloudy at First Bank Stadium there in Nashville, Tennessee.
Yep.
SEC top 25 matchup between Missouri and Vanderbilt. Something we probably didn't think we'd be saying a couple years ago.
No.
Where are you going in this one?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna back the Commodores again. I mean, the big thing last week was I was afraid that some expectations were going to start to affect this team, and Vandy showed out and just straight up beat LSU. Missouri coming off that tough win last week against Auburn. I think just another road spot for them. Go ahead and give me the Commodores.
Yeah, and look, it's a big week of situational spots, right?
Yep.
Back-to-back road spot for Missouri. This is Missouri's only second road game. They had played
Yep.
6 straight home games. Now
Yep.
they're back-to-back on the road. Auburn almost got them. Again, Auburn probably should have got them. Auburn was
Should have
up
got them.
late, and they let that
Right.
game go away. Now, we're coming off a double overtime game, an emotional game. You poured out a lot there. Now you're going to a Vanderbilt team that a lot of people are still not taking too seriously.
Yeah.
And when you look at the quarterback situations here, Prebula, the young kid out of Penn State, probably the guy they maybe should have stuck with, at least what it looked like early
Good.
on. 11
Yeah.
touchdowns and 7 interceptions. Obviously,
Right.
Diego Pavia, much more senior in his 18th year of college football, 15 touchdowns, 4 interceptions. I think he values the ball more. And
Yep.
really, Missouri, we saw it last week. Missouri wants to run the ball. They're a run first
Yep.
team, whether it's Prebula or whether it's, Hardy, I believe, is the running back. Ahmad Hardy, a
Yes.
handy, something like that.
Party. Yep.
Hardy, yeah, he's a good back. But
Yep.
when they can't run, they struggle. And right now, Vanderbilt's given up less than 100 yards on the ground. They've got a solid run defense. So I trust both these run defenses are actually pretty good. But I trust Diego Pavia to be able to, move the offense and do what he needs to do through the air much more than Prebula. And I think this is going to be rocking. Like the Vanderbilt fans have been wanting this for years. They're
Yep.
going to make this sold out. They're going to make this place crazy. 3:30 kick there. Absolutely, I'm riding with Vanderbilt. I'm not sure Missouri is a good team yet. I mean, their best win to this point is going to be maybe Kansas, maybe South Carolina at
Right.
home, right?
Right.
You mean, I guess if we want to, I don't even know, like Auburn just finds ways to lose. They're
Yep.
winless in SEC play. So I'm not, yeah, it was an okay win to go in there and do it in double overtime, but
Yep.
Vanderbilt's a whole different story. I think Vanderbilt,
Yeah.
go ahead.
Yeah, no, I mean, the one thing with this team is I do like Missouri's defense, and I'm wondering if Diego Pavia can get things rolling against them. Now, on third down, Diego Pavia can basically do whatever the hell he wants. I think they rank second in third down conversion rate. So I think in general, if this one ends up going to Mizzou, it's just going to be because they locked down that Vanderbilt offense. Because Mizzou, they can score some points, at least at
Right.
home, obviously, but I just don't know, if Vandy can hold their own against their defense.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good
Yeah,
matchup, but give me
this will be a good one.
Vanderbilt at home. I not bought in on this Missouri team. So we are both back in the Vanderbilt Commodores there in this one. All right, game number 4. We're heading over to the Big 12, specifically Ames, Iowa, to talk the 7-0 number 11 team in the country, the BYU Cougars. After we just sang them their praise off the Holy War win.
That's right.
They're heading to Ames, Iowa to take on a 5-2 Iowa State team who's coming off their bye after back-to-back losses, back-to-back field storms.
Mhm.
Iowa is laying 2.5 at home, minus 155 on the money line. BYU catching 2.5, plus 130 on the money line. Over/under sitting at 48.5. This is 59, partly cloudy in Jack Trice Stadium there in Ames, Iowa.
Yep.
Who do you have in this one?
Give me the Cougs once again. I think in general, Bear Brockman or however you say his name has
Bachmeyer.
whatever his name is. Yeah, Bear Bachmeyer is an absolute stud at quarterback, and that
He's good.
offense looked pretty good last week, and their defense is even better. And I just don't know if Rocco Becht. The last time I saw him on the field, the last couple times I've seen him on the field, he didn't show me that he was a veteran senior quarterback that we expected or at least saw earlier in the season.
Yeah.
Iowa State's offense has started to struggle a little bit more, and this BYU defense is legit. So give me the BYU Cougs laying a couple points. Or no, I get a couple points in this one. Cool.
You do catch 2.5. I'm sure there's some threes out there if you look closely. However, not so fast, my friend. I
There
understand
we
taking
go.
the undefeated team with all the momentum, yada yada yada. But situations. That is the theme of the show for me. You are coming off a very emotional game where despite being the ranked team against an unranked team, actually I think they were both ranked, but the higher ranked team, they field stormed. And that was a huge emotional game. 3-point win against your hated rival in Utah in the Holy War.
Yep.
Now you're coming off that, and now you got to go on the road to Ames, which is a weird road spot. And you got a situation where Matt Campbell is a very good football coach. We know that. We have years of data for that. Yes,
Yep.
Iowa State was all over them. They were 5-0. They were looking great. They had a bad loss in Cincinnati. Tough game. Cincinnati's decent. But then a bad loss in Boulder. Back-to-back road spot. Playing on the road's tough. They got field stormed twice against them. They're a veteran team. I think that Matt Campbell, Rocco Becht, they needed the bye week to regroup. I think they come out and they shock the world a little bit, even though they're favored. I think Vegas is telling us everything we need to know here. Much like when Cincinnati was favored against Iowa State a couple of weeks ago at home, I think Iowa State gets them here. They have a common opponent in Arizona. BYU was on the road in Tucson. They needed double overtime to beat Arizona. We're very fortunate.
Mm-hmm.
Iowa, when Arizona came to Ames, they beat them by 25. BYU's been on the road 3 times. They've won by, at 3 in Boulder. ECU, I guess Colorado is a common opponent there. So,
Yep.
but I just think coming off a bye, Iowa's this now or never. This is a get right spot. I think that BYU, they've had a really good story. Freshman quarterback, hostile environment. I'm going to trust Matt Campbell and Rocco Becht. BYU's look good, though, so I can't hammer you for this pick too much. I think that the stars are aligning for Iowa State, so it's now or never Iowa State. Gonna need the Cyclones to step up in this one, but I do think, this is a huge game for not only the Big 12, but BYU would be in the college football playoff right now. So
Yeah.
it starts to get to be everyone's going to be watching this. So you are on the undefeated BYU Cougars catching 2.5 points in Ames. I am back in the home squad in the Iowa State Cyclones, laying the 2.5 there. Another one we are having a nice lock battle with. So we're 2 for 2 so far. We've agreed on 2 and we've disagreed on the other. Let's see how we round it out here. We're talking game number 5. Another SEC. I'm thinking we're as biased as the rankings committee or something, huh?
That's right.
Just they've got a lot of good games here, a lot of good spots we like. Saturday, still in that 3:30 p.m. Eastern time slate there. We've got the 5-2, somehow still ranked number 22 Texas Longhorns heading to Starkville, Mississippi to take on the 4-3 Mississippi State. Texas coming off a overtime win, a 3-point win against Kentucky. Mississippi State coming off a 2-point loss to Florida, a game they really should have won, which we'll get into. Texas laying 7 on the road, minus 270 on the money line. The home team, Mississippi State Bulldogs, +7, +220 on the money line. Over-under sitting at 45.5. 71 in cloudy in Davis-Wade Stadium there in Starkville, Mississippi. Where are you going in this SEC matchup?
This one was easiest of the whole slate for me. I love Mississippi State in this spot.
Yep.
You mentioned it. Texas is coming off of a back-to-back road spot. They do have a common opponent in Florida. Florida dominated Texas. They struggled with Mississippi State a little bit there, and were fortunate to get a win last week. I think that Mississippi State in general is a pretty tough environment to go in there and get a win, especially when your offense sucks. And Texas's offense sucks. I don't know if it's an arch thing and if it's an offensive line thing, a running back, a wide receiver. Like, you can't put it on one unit because they haven't had anything going all season on that offense. So give me Mississippi State in this one at home.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm going to bring in an interesting stat here. I think there's to the point in the season where we have enough data where some of this stuff matters. One of the worst teams against the spread in the country this year at 2-5, the Texas Longhorns.
Yep.
One of the best teams against the spread at 6-1, the Mississippi State Bulldogs there.
Yep.
I think it just talks about like Vegas has not figured out these teams, right? I think it gives some insight as there's some difference between value and the actual play on the field. Love Mississippi State here. Who the hell has Texas beaten to deserve this, right? Their best win is against, John Napier, who came back and handed them the game because he was simply not ready to play. That was on the coaching staff of the University of Oklahoma. We had talked about it. I don't think this is a smart decision. They should just go with the backup. And, they didn't listen to us. So what are we going to do? Sorry, this game is at 4:15 Eastern time. I apologize. That's a mistake on me. But Texas, Kentucky's terrible.
Yeah.
Awful team. They had needed overtime to win 16-13. They were losing, or it was tied. Well, Kentucky kicked the field goal to tie. This is a game where they got outgained against Kentucky. Like, it blows my mind. Kentucky, 26 first downs, 395 yards. Texas, 8 first downs, 179 yards. They only had 47 yards on the ground. Like, it's almost a statistical anomaly that Texas was able to even win that game. And this is against a 2-4 Kentucky Wildcats team that's 0-4 in the SEC. You mentioned the common opponent in Florida. As a Florida fan, I will say Mississippi State should have won that game.
Yep.
A la why Billy Napier is fired. It took a 350-pound defensive lineman dropping back into coverage and intercepting a ball that should have never been thrown in that situation to win that game. Meanwhile, we beat the shit out of Texas. Like, that game shouldn't have even been close. And I don't understand how Texas is favored. So we're just going to take this to the bank. Give us Mississippi State +7. I love Mississippi State here. They're at home. They're hungry. They're still fighting. They're a solid team. They took Tennessee at home to the brink. Tennessee needed overtime. a lot of Tennessee fans would probably tell you they were pretty fortunate to walk out of Starkville with the win there. I love Mississippi State to get their first SEC conference win there against a
Yep.
Texas team on a back-to-back road spot that is just not any good.
Yep.
So
And finally, we get to back Fluff Bothwell.
there we go.
One of
Yeah.
my favorite names in all of sports.
Yes, exactly. Fluff Waffle and the Mississippi State Bulldogs will get it done for us. All right, last game on the slate here. We've got another top 25 SEC matchup. Saturday, October 25th, 7:30 p.m. Eastern Time. Nice night game here in Baton Rouge. We've got the 7-0 Texas A&M Aggies, number 3 team in the country. They are coming off a shootout with Arkansas, a nice win for them. And then we've got LSU, the number 20 team in the country at 5-2, coming off a tough loss to what we think is a very good Vanderbilt team. You've got A&M laying 2.5 on the road, minus 135 on the money line. Over-under sitting at 47.5. LSU catching 2.5 plus 114. Home dogs, 76 degrees and clear. Beautiful, beautiful weather for some nice football in Tiger Stadium in Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Where are you going in this one? Huge college football playoff implications on the line here. Which team are you backing?
100%. So going way back to our college football preview before the season, I gave out Texas A&M to make the college football playoff. I think at like plus 340 or something like that.
Yeah, it was
looking
at least
pretty good. Looking pretty good right now.
Yep.
I think this is a sneaky spot. They're coming off back-to-back or a road spot. And LSU looked a little better to me offensively last week. Nussmeier looked a little bit healthier. Was playing a pretty clean or played a pretty clean game last week. And yeah, I think what it comes down to is this game is played in Death Valley.
Yep.
And crazy things happen at night in Death Valley. So give me the LSU Tigers and the 102,000 riding into the Valley of Death.
Yeah, no, I this is a game that I thought I would be on the other side on, and everything kept taking me back to LSU. Give me LSU as home dogs here. This is, I mean, it's do or die, right? They already have 2 losses in conference. They've lost on the road. They're 4-0 at home. They still have to go to Tuscaloosa and to Norman, Oklahoma. They need this game. I think they understand this is a veteran team. Nussmeier, Weeks, they came back for this season. And this is kind of it. They're going to put all the chips on the table. And we talked about A&M. I think A&M, they were a little fortunate to walk out of Fayetteville last week. I mean, 3-point win. They gave up 42 points to an Arkansas team that can score. But A&M's, they've looked a little beatable. They're kind of playing with their food a little bit. Again, winning on the road in college football, especially in one of the best environments in college football, it's a tough task. So, yeah, I am with you with LSU plus 2.5 there. This is also a situation where I'm going to be on the under 47.5. It was at 48.5 yesterday, but you can get minus 105 on the under 47.5. I still like it there. LSU is giving up on average 9.25 points at home. This defense has been legit all year. Like this is I expect a very hard-nosed, tough game. I think Texas A&M is going to want to run the ball behind a very good offensive line. LSU is going to be able to step up to the task there. I'm expecting, a 20-10 game, a 14-21 game. I think this is going to be 17-21, something like that. I think this is going to be a lower scoring game. I think it's going to be very physical. Both these defenses are pretty good at limiting the opponent. And, I don't think the path for LSU to win this game is a shootout. I think this needs to be, be able to run the ball, be able to Nussmeier, kill death by 1,000 cuts with this quick passing game, and let the defense start to lean on this Texas A&M team that is still without their top back, although in Moss there, although Ruben Owens is a pretty good backup. But we are both on LSU as the home dog in one of the better environments in college football. I am also on the under 47.5. Okay, it is now time for everyone's favorite section because it's the time where we make you the money. That is our best bets, and I will let you go first, my friend. What is your lock for the college football week 9 slate?
Yeah, I said it earlier. It was my favorite pick on the board. Mississippi State at home against a shitty Texas team.
Yeah, absolutely. Is that it? Because I think that might be all you need to say.
That's it. That's it. It's that simple. I don't think that either of these teams know how to to hold on to the ball.
Yep.
And if I'm getting some points against a bad Texas team at home, I'll take that.
I mean, I love it. I mean, 7 points is outrageous, but okay, it's name brand. I think a little bit. I think this is you're
Yes,
getting
I think so
advantage
too.
of the stars and the brain and the
Yeah,
name brand and all that crap.
yeah, yeah.
My lock last week they hit for me. Why go away from it? Give me the Vanderbilt Convours at home, laying 2.5, the exact same number, and I think in the exact same spot. I think a
Yep,
team that's vulnerable, bit fraudulent, coming to them in a back-to-back road spot in the Missouri Tigers off a double overtime game. I
yep,
think that Vanderbilt is able to stop the run, and I think both these teams can stop the run. Give me the veteran quarterback in Diego Pavia. I think it's going to be a great matchup, but ultimately give me Vanderbilt to get care of business at home and solidify themselves as a legit college football playoff contender.
yep.
Where are you going with your dog this week?
24-20, Mississippi State.
Hail
All
State.
right,
Hail State.
easy.
Well, this has never happened, but give us both Mississippi State plus
Ooh,
220 on
okay.
the money line. Um, Texas is not good, folks. I,
Nope.
I don't know. Doesn't matter how many rankings you put in front of them. It does not matter how many stars they have. They are going to go into Starkville and they are going to get embarrassed. They're going to lose outright. Everyone's going to be crying about Arch. We just saw it in the swamp against a Florida team that I wish was better, but ultimately is not that good. This Mississippi
Right.
State team should have beat Florida last week on the road. They're going
Yes,
to
they
come
should.
home. They're going to get right. They're going to get their first SEC win on the season, and it's going to
Yep.
be to taking down Steve Sarkisian and Arch Manning. Man, I should have just not said that name. That name's tough. All right. Give us your tease, your parlay, and let's get out of here.
So tease wise, let's tease LSU up to 8.5.
Okay.
Wake up to 9.5, and BYU up to 8.5 at plus 140.
Love it. Love it.
And,
Love it.
and you want me to give parlay too?
Yep. Go ahead.
Easy. Mississippi State, LSU, money line, plus 584.
Yeah. If I'll say this, if Mississippi State doesn't come to play, you're going to be homeless, but it's okay because I love them as well. So I don't hate that at all. My tease, I'm going to go with Iowa State plus 3.5. So nice middle ground for us there. Hopefully it lands somewhere in the middle. Give me the Texas A&M LSU under 53.5, and then Mississippi State plus 13 at plus 140.
Okay.
And then the parlay, Wake Forest, Ole Miss. 6-1 on the money line there. I think the Demon Deacons are live at home, and I'm not sold on these Oklahoma Sooners. I think Trinidad Chambliss and my future head coach in Lane Kiffin get it done in Norman.
There we go.
All right, as a recap here, we will start with Derek, who has a very nice and easy recap because it's all
Yep.
Mississippi State, baby.
That's right.
Lock is Mississippi State plus 7. The dog, Mississippi State on the money line plus 220. And the tease is LSU plus 8.5, Wake plus 9.5, and BYU plus 8.5 at plus 140. For myself, the lock is the Vanderbilt Commodores minus 2.5 at home, taking on a fraudulent Mizzou team. Mississippi State as the dog, and Iowa State plus 3.5, Texas A&M, LSU under 53.5, and Mississippi State plus 13 at plus 130. The parlay for Derek, Mississippi State and LSU money line at plus 584, and for myself, Wake Forest and Ole Miss 6-1. I feel like I've never said Mississippi State that time many times in my life. All right, man. That is it for the Week 9 College Football Best Bet Show. Tell the people what we got going on, why they should stick around, do all the nice things while I let my voice take a breath here.
Yeah, no, we obviously just got done with the college football episode. We got the NFL and coming out next week, week 8 of the NFL. You're not going to want to miss that. Doing pretty well over the last few weeks. I think we're
damn well
17-7 or something like that.
No, I'll do the math, but you
I don't know. Math's
yeah.
hard, but we've been absolutely crushing it over on the NFL side of things.
Yes.
So we got the NFL show tomorrow night. You have your injury report coming out for
Correct.
fantasy lovers, props related stuff over on IDP Plus. As usual, any likes, subscribe, follow is very helpful. We appreciate all the love. Comment down below games that you're looking to bet, and go Bulldogs.
Hail State, baby. Yes, as Derek mentioned, the NFL Week 8 show will be tomorrow. So Tuesday's college football, we get that out to you. And then Wednesday, when we get a little more injury information, we talk about NFL. So check that out. Did the math. What did you say we did?
17-7.
We are, folks, 17-7 in our last 3 episodes. So that mental math is coming in strong. Apologize for doubting you. An insane lock run in the NFL. You're going to want to jump over there if you like making money and you like talking ball with us. Hey, folks, we appreciate everything. You guys have been awesome this year, been showing us a ton of love. Look, at this point, we're getting really close to our goal in the season was to hit 1,000 subscribers. That was the challenge we set for ourselves. We would appreciate it. We're almost there. I think that goal is very realistic, especially if you guys keep showing us some love. We will give you the winners. We will let you talk. We will talk ball with you. All we ask for is a simple like and subscribe. But hey, enough begging. It's time to enjoy some winners. You know what they say, folks. A lock a day keeps the bookie away. And here at the DGen Docs, we've got your prescription. From Professor Locks and the doc here at DFSG Plus, we are
Go Bulldogs.
out of here.